A thread by Carlos Osuida. How utterly stupid is Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot? She says the Illinois National Guard is not trained for patrolling urban environments. Military operations in urban environments, MOUT, is a standard part of the training of all National Guard units. Here's the Illinois Army National Guard practicing MOUT in Japan, of all places, in 2019. Link in the description. Lightfoot told her despairing alderman that deploying the National Guard in several cities made things worse. She's not lying. She actually believes this because she's utterly incompetent. Like Obama, she's a pretend politician who uses the mannerisms of a competent leader. Lightfoot said that deploying the National Guard to Minneapolis was a, quote, disaster. Actually, deploying the National Guard in force was what allowed the city to maintain the control that the feds brought about. Leftists live on another planet. Keep in mind that Chicago is where black street gangs murder each other and bystanders with impunity. Lightfoot doesn't care in the least. A good mayor learns what to do in emergencies. That means you plan for worst-case scenarios. Democratic governors and mayors totally screwed up the response to the pandemic because they had no idea what to do. All those fat nurses marching in support of Black Lives Matter had no idea where private testing labs were. No planning. Politik über alles means total incompetence. When you make ideological purity the most important factor, you end up with people who don't know how to do their jobs. Look at John Brennan. If you can bear to do so, this is the best he can do at attempting a smile. Under Brennan, the CIA armed and trained Islamists in Syria, who then took their weapons and training to the Islamic State or went to war against each other. That's why Donald Trump ended all that insanity. What happened to the Syrian civil war? It's over, except for the final jockeying for position by everyone who will share power after Assad heroically steps down, having won the war. Idlib governorate is the only place with a smattering of fighting going on. It's absolutely impossible for anyone in the general public to know what's really going on. My guess is only the Saudis, Emiratis, and Trump know. But the last powerful armed faction is Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, HTS, the former Al-Qaeda in Syria. Their final military operations were January 1st through January 10th, 2020, when they launched 21 simultaneous ground offensives and destroyed the Turkish-backed jihadist factions of the National Front for Liberation. The Turkish-backed jihadists were indistinguishable from the Islamic State. Not a single analyst noticed that HTS, the former Al-Qaeda, had air power that stopped convoys dead. The vehicles at the front of the convoys were destroyed, forcing the terrorists to abandon their vehicles. Virtually all of them were killed with unknown weapons. It appeared that guided mortar rounds took them out. Of course, YouTube removed a video showing the convoy of the worst terrorist group, Harakat Nur al-Din al-Zenki, which Obama and Brennan armed and trained. But I downloaded the video. Every single vehicle and tank is completely undamaged. Here's pictures of the tank. And then next, this is the important part, okay? This guy rapidly ducked out of sight. I have no idea what he's wearing. Almost certainly body armor made of non-Newtonian material. I think the dark parts of his clothing were covered by equipment and more armor, and the lighter parts were caused by dust. When he removed everything, you could see the parts of his suit that got no dust on them. There was a lot of dust raised by explosions. HTS is only masquerading as the former Al Qaeda. When a final agreement is reached, they'll suddenly disappear. Being leftists, Obama and Brennan are incompetent. Trump isn't an ideologue, and he asks questions until he understands. In the case of the Middle East, I'm sure he didn't demand details. It's not our fight. We just help our allies when asked. So we've come down to incompetence versus competence. Imagine in 2020 that the mayor of Chicago has no idea that the Illinois National Guard are experts in patrolling cities. That's why they have equipment for it. For the last 4 months, we've been inundated by a tsunami of leftist stupidity and incompetence. After the election, they won't matter. So be happy, warriors. All is well.